Communities on the New South Wales North Coast are being warned of possible evacuations as floodwaters move on from the disaster-struck city of Lismore. Communities around Ballina are threatened by isolation, and floodwater has cut the main route into Queensland. The community of Cabbage Tree Island is on standby for possible evacuations, as are residents around Ballina as a large volume of water moves seaward. In the Tweed, the situation has been downgraded, but the Pacific Highway is cut by water at Chindera, blocking access between the two states. High tide at midday will be watched closely to see what effect that will have on local river systems.
Worst hit really from my perspective is Lismore, still quite inundated. Their worst peak happened on Thursday night, and we had crews out flat out yesterday. First light yesterday morning, we were just trying to ascertain the amount of work that we really had to do. Over the state, we had 2,200 jobs and over 420 flood rescues. 407 of those flood rescues were here in the local area. So it's been pretty hectic. Most of those flood rescues were from people trapped in their own buildings who did not heed the warnings when they were told to evacuate. It's been a real problem up here and certainly a concern to all the emergency services that have been working together. I've just also been back from Murwillumbah, where we got to see on the ground the extent of some of the damage there. Now the water height has dropped 2 to 3 metres in some areas. The roads are still isolating people. In particular, a lot of the culverts have been washed away to quite a depth, sort of 2 to 3 metres in some places. And on the Pacific Highway, that is still closed, although that water is dropping.
Affected residents on the New South Wales far north coast face a nervous wait, with many still unable to return to their homes. But others are trapped in the top floors of their houses and are running low on food and water. Reporter Jade McMillan has more.
Well, I'm about 15 kilometres northeast of Murwillumbah, and there are a number of roads around here that are blocked by floodwaters. It's simply still too deep and too dangerous to get across those roads. There are a lot of people waiting to try and do that, hoping that the waters might recede. But at the moment, I'm actually at the Balambal Terranora Football Club. Now, it doesn't look like much at the moment, but this entire area was actually underwater, and what you can see over here, this pile of debris, is actually slabs of bitumen that have been washed off from the car park area and onto the oval. And we've actually had a bit of a busy bee this morning of kids from the local soccer club and their parents trying to break up those slabs of bitumen and putting them in this pile and trying to clear them off the oval. The oval is very muddy. There's also been extensive damage to the clubhouse. They've had water all through and a lot of food and other things damaged. So a big clean up for them. But as I said, just around the corner from here is just one of those roads that is still blocked. There are a number of people waiting there, hoping that they might be able to get through a little bit later this afternoon, but so far they haven't had any luck.
Jay, just some extraordinary evidence of destruction there with those massive slabs of concrete that have, of road, of bitumen that have been moved from the road and tossed onto the football field. How have the people you've been speaking to in the area, the locals, how are they reacting?
Well, a lot of the people that we've spoken to today have lived in this region for many years. They say that they have experienced floods before, but this one was different. They said that the rain was just so intense that the rivers rose very rapidly, and they're surprised by the amount of damage that has been caused so far. There are a lot of people who are really anxious to get through to Murwillumbah. One of the women I spoke to actually tried to get through that flooded area that we were at earlier. She got through the first part, but then over the hill it simply got too deep and she turned back. But she has a nephew who has a young family in an area near the town. They're stranded. They're okay. They're up on the top floor of their house, but they're stuck, and she was trying to get supplies to him because he has 2 young children. One of them has disabilities, and she wanted to get food and nappies and those kinds of things to him. Let's take a listen to what she had to say.
They've been flooded in for 2 days. They've got no nappies. The SES got a small package to them yesterday afternoon. But, yeah, they're pretty stuck, so I was trying to get some food to them. I've got a heap of food, nappies and things for the kids, because if they go to an evacuation centre, the child has a lot of fits and things, and it's not a place for them. So, yeah, I'd only follow a truck through. I wouldn't go through on my own because it's 1.5 foot shallower there, but the other side's just way over, so as soon as it's over guideposts, you don't go anywhere, or if it's flowing.
So that was Janet Beale, just one of the local residents here, who is patiently waiting for those waters to recede so that she can get through. There are a lot of other people who aren't locals, but they've flown to the Gold Coast and they're trying to get down to Byron Bay. People, a few guys I spoke to were on their way to a Bucks party. Some girls were on their way to a yoga festival. They've had a look at the roadblock, realised that they're not going to get there anytime soon, and they'll probably just spend a few days on the Gold Coast. Others, though, are still assessing the damage. They are waiting to get into those areas, or they're being able to get out now that the waters have receded a bit, and to see exactly what damage has been caused.
In Queensland,